best podcast, the Heidelcast.
It's a Heidel minicast. And now, Scott Clark.
What did Herman Bavinck say about Biblicism?
If the Heidelcast helps you, won't you help us keep it going? Please make the coffer clink by clicking on the PayPal link or by sending a check to Heidelberg Reformation Association, 1637 East Valley Parkway, number 391, Escondido, California, 92027.
You should subscribe to the Heidelcast wherever Heidelcasts are found. You can find us at Apple Podcasts. We're now on YouTube. We're on Spotify. So wherever you'd like to get your podcasts, you can subscribe to us there.
The Heidelcast.
This is part 5 in our series on Biblicism. And yesterday's was a real minicast. It was the shortest minicast we've done for a long time. But I thought that was an interesting quote from Augustine that I thought, well, I'll just leave that there and let the listener meditate on that. The next one I want to look at is from Herman Bavinck, who was an influential Reformed theologian in the late 19th century and the early 20th century in the Netherlands, and whose Reformed dogmatics has recently been translated into English. And these quotations are provided for us by Brandon Wilkins from his blog. So thank you very much, Brandon. And Bavinck wrote, "Scripture is not a legal document, the articles of which only need to be looked up for a person to find out what its view is in a given case. It is composed of many books written by various authors dating back to different times and divergent in content. It is a living whole, not abstract, but organic. It nowhere contains a sketch of the doctrine of faith. This is something that has to be drawn from the entire organism of Scripture. Scripture is not designed that we should parrot it, but that as free children of God, we should think his thoughts after him." And then he goes on to say, and this is all from Reformed Dogmatics, Volume 1, this is page 83, "So much study and reflection on the subject is bound up with it that no person can possibly do it alone. That takes centuries. To that end, the Church has been appointed and given the promise of the Spirit's guidance into all truth. Whoever isolates himself from the Church, that is, from Christianity as a whole, from the history of dogma in its entirety, loses the truth of the Christian faith. That person becomes a branch that is torn from the tree and shrivels, an organ that is separated from the body and therefore doomed to die. Only with the communion of the saints can the length and breadth, the depth and the height of the love of Christ be comprehended." Ephesians 3:18. Add to this that the proponents of this school, 19th century biblical theology advocates is what he has in mind, forget that the Christian faith is universal. It can and must enter into all forms and conditions. They oppose grace to nature in a hostile fashion and do not sufficiently take account of the incarnation of the Word. For just as the Son of God became truly human, so also God's thoughts, incorporated into Scripture, became flesh and blood in human consciousness. Dogmatics is and ought to be divine thought, totally entered into and absorbed in our human consciousness, freely and independently expressed in our language. In its essence, the fruit of centuries. In its form, contemporary." And again he wrote, "However high and wonderful the thoughts of God may be, they were not aphorisms, but constituted an organic unity, a systematic whole, that could also be thought through and cast in scientific form." And that's from page 84 of Volume 1.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for more from the Heidelcast, brought to you by Heidelberg Reformation Association.org. Don't forget, when the coin in the coffer clinks, the cost of bandwidth shrinks. Copyright Heidelberg Reformation Association. All rights reserved. This is a Heidel Media production.
The best podcast,